Hello and assalamu alaikum. I know people are still joining in, but I will begin. My name is Noor Sayed. I am the person behind the website and the program Simplify Homeschool. And now I'm also doing a conference, a homeschool conference for moms, homeschooling moms specifically. And also any mom out there who is invested in their children's education, who wants to do more. If you want to benefit from whatever we do, it would be a pleasure to have you. And I'm also the person behind a clothing line called Hiba, which I actually started to expose my children to real life skills. I ended up doing a real life business, and now I really don't know what to do with it. So it's kind of like a real problem now. But anyways, Alhamdulillah, it's a pleasure that I get to interact with women from all over the world. I have a comprehensive homeschool program that I run, and it's been the joy of my life. For the past 6-7 months working with these amazing women, and it's been amazing. And before that, I've been running support groups, and I have a local homeschool co-op that I started with 2 of my other friends, and mashallah, it's been an amazing journey. I've been a parent for almost 11 years now, and I started looking into homeschooling when my son was 2 years old. So I started pretty early on, and so it's been a journey, alhamdulillah. So Jazakallah khair for everyone who's joining in. I'm going to quickly go over a few. Iram, Shaukat, Assalamu alaikum. It's a pleasure you're here. I've seen your lives. You're doing amazing work, mashallah. You and the other sister who are mobilizing efforts, mashallah. It's amazing. We can never have enough people coming together. There is barakah, there is khair in coming together. And I really think it's everyday moms like us, and us coming together and just pulling and bringing out the best in each other, that's gonna forge the way ahead, inshallah. So it's nice. It's nice to see you here. I know I'm still like, I don't always do this camera thing right. So if I'm not looking at the right place, excuse me. Yeah, I should be looking here. That's the camera. Okay. So assalamu alaikum, welcome. Today we are going to talk about a topic which is kind of like, many people think we have this misconception that only super moms can homeschool. It's not for the everyday ordinary moms. This is something that often keeps people from even looking into it. There is this assumption that, we have to be of a certain type. We have to have certain qualities. Only then we can even, think about homeschooling, which is a myth, to be honest. So, we'll get into that. We'll deep dive. But before I begin, if you can let me know your name and where are you logging in from, it would be nice. Because then, when I read your usernames and I try to talk to you, it just sounds really messy. So let me know where you're joining us from and what's your name. Iram, I'm glad your username is like, I can clearly see it. So alhamdulillah, that's good. Rumana is here. Hey, assalamu alaikum, Rumana. Rumana is my college friend. She did engineering with me. So it's nice to see you here, Rumana. I don't know what time it is in Kuwait. I think you're in Kuwait, right? Or Qatar. Don't kill me for this, but one of the two. So we also have Sumaira Sheikh joining us from Madison, Wisconsin. That's nice, mashallah. And it's summer there. So yeah, nice, mashallah. And we also have on Instagram, we have Umme Abu Bakr from Kuwait, Tasneem from Canada, Sadia Ahmed from London, Zainab from Florida is here, mashallah. And I can see more people joining in. And I think, yeah. So alhamdulillah, let's begin talking about this. And I think if you're not even homeschooling, you'll have fun listening to this session today. So let's get going. We have Sakina from California. We have another sister called Load of Pinks from Dallas. See, this is why I was asking you to share your name, because it's funny when I start reading the names. And somebody from Essex, which I believe is in United Kingdom. I have cousins and I have some relatives who live there. So I'm guessing. That's the best guess. Okay, let's begin. Otherwise, I'll keep going on tangents. Okay, So why do we assume that homeschooling is only for super moms? Where, like, what is really behind this assumption or this question? Um, so if you really pause and think about this question, like only super moms can homeschool, the implicit thing here is that homeschooling is very difficult. Homeschooling is, something that takes your life away. It takes all day. So you have to be an extraordinary person to even go in that direction, right? Homeschooling means you have to be an expert on education. You have to know everything. You have to be super dedicated. You have to be super committed, and like have like a different kind of nerve to go in that direction. That's what's implicitly present in this statement, right? That, oh, this is not for me, this is for the super moms, right? um, so here's the thing, and I want you to reflect on a few things that I share here and think about this. um, Really, it's not homeschooling which is hard. It is a daunting and a huge lifestyle change for sure. I don't mean to say that it's a piece of cake, but really, if you deeply think about it, it's parenting which is hard. It's parenting which is really difficult. So whether you are homeschooling or not, it's the parenting which has kind of taken over our lives and changed everything for us. And life is difficult as a mom, as a parent. It's a huge responsibility to raise little children and kind of make sure that they are getting a good education. Whether you're directly involved or not, it is a huge undertaking, right? So um, so even if your child goes to school, what does your day look like? Now let's talk about moms who have children who go to school. You still have to make sure that you wake up the kids on time. You generally have to drag them out of bed, right? Make sure they get dressed, they're well fed. They are, you pack their lunch. You either have to pack their lunch and make sure they have their snack and everything beforehand, previous night, or in the morning. You have to make sure that you are up in the morning way before the kids wake up, so that you can make sure that all the things happen on time, because it's not like you have the luxury of waking up anytime. You have to be on top of your feet to make sure your kids get in the bus, or if you have to drop them off, you have to drive them and drop them off, right? So then in the evening when they come back, you have to get them through the lessons and do revisions or whatever homework, follow up with the teachers, make sure that you if you have other activities to do, which generally most parents have to pull in some time to do those extra things, and then you come back home and then you have to make sure they go to bed quickly. And it's your lifestyle, right? You are managing somebody else's life on a timetable, and it's not always easy, right? And while doing all of this, you're still at the mercy of whoever is in charge of your child's education. So if something's not working for your child, you have to literally fight tooth and nail with the system, sometimes with the teachers, whoever is calling the shots for your child. So it is a lot of work, but then you're not really in control of a lot of things. Sometimes even like small changes which could make a world of a difference. But you are basically, somebody else is at the helm, basically, right? So it is a lot of work, but then you have this little bit of a comfort in the fact that somebody else is partially responsible for their education. But if you really think about it, you never can really hand over that responsibility to somebody else, right? You're still in charge. You're still responsible for your child's education, right? You still deeply care about their education. You still deeply care about whether they're getting the best that is out there for them, right? And you do everything in your capacity to make that happen, the best of the resources, the best of the education to happen to your child. So you are, it's not like a back seat. So what's the difference? What's the difference between a homeschooling family, a homeschooling mom, and a non-homeschooling mom? The real difference here is that in homeschooling, your home is the center first. And I have talked about this in the past, how everything, your main base is your home. And the other thing is that in homeschooling, you're fully assuming that responsibility. You don't get to say, the school is, that little bit of comfort that comes from sending off your kids to school, and at least for a few hours they are somebody else's responsibility. That doesn't happen in a homeschool. So that's the main difference. The other thing is, now that sounds like that's why I don't want to homeschool. But here's the beauty of homeschooling. With homeschooling, you get to avail of the flexibility, the freedom that comes with it. You get to experience efficient learning in your home. Like, you get to do away with all the unnecessary fluff that happens in a setting where there is multiple children and there is fewer adults managing that, right? That's what happens in a classroom setting. You get to do away with that, and you get to do it in a far more efficient manner. And you get to, it's really like very flexible, and you're completely free to choose the resources, the methods, prioritize between different things. And depending on whatever is your priority as a parent, you get to pick and choose. And that is huge. And I will prove it to you in a minute how it also makes it easier in some ways, or at least at the same level as a mom who's sending their child to school. Like, in terms of work, it's the same amount of work. It's just a different kind of work. It's a different kind of lifestyle, right? So if you can get your mind to kind of reframe your mind around education, if you can reframe your mind around what my everyday life can look like, if you can consider it for a moment and sincerely look that, okay, this is a different lifestyle, this is a different kind of an approach, let me see how this works. And if you start rethinking in that manner, you will notice that it's actually just a different kind of work and a different kind of lifestyle. It's not harder or easier. Parenting is hard, so everybody's on the same page, right? Because we are all parents, we are all moms, we are all struggling, we are all making things work, and we are all making dua, we are all striving. And I honestly don't believe that homeschooling ensures success, or a certain kind of schooling ensures success, or one way or against the another. I think it's just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge at the end of the day. We are all doing our best, and we do our best, and then we leave the results to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? But the thing with homeschooling is you have so much flexibility and freedom, and there's the opportunities open up so much that it is worth considering, and it's worth taking notice that there's so much benefit that it can bring to your child. That's something that you can open up your mind to. And the more you read about child development, the more you read about how we learn, how children grow, what happens in their brain, what is it that they need, you will notice that really they need you. They need you far more than an institution, right? They need a secure home much more than they need all these other things that we have somehow placed so much emphasis in our minds that we refuse to even consider other possibilities. So I just invite you to just reflect and see what's possible. Just explore this, and just stay still in this with this thought. Let it linger in your mind, and just explore the possibilities. Okay, so here's another thing. With homeschooling, what you get to do is you get to customize education. Now, our children are unique, right? If you have more than one child, you know that children are very different. They have their personalities, they have, their growth is not linear. They have their growth spurts, they have their, they regress, they go through phases where they don't want to learn, that they go through phases where they are, it's like a nature's inbuilt program that they come with, right? Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them like that. They go through these phases and growth phases where they may not seem to be learning well, but then they catch up. And then there are phases where they are very interested in a subject, but Again, when you're at the mercy of somebody else being in charge of your child's education, they may not be able to factor these things just because they can't. The most loving teachers are unable to do that because they have to work with an entire, oops, my phone had paused, um, because they have to work with an entire classroom full of children, right? They don't have just one child to work with, they have many. And even if they want to advocate for your child and make adjustments for your child, they are buried under state mandated expectations. They have to go on. And it's not like they don't want to. It's just a limitation of the setting itself. So in homeschooling, you get to customize education for your unique child. Now, what that does is it just makes it easy for your child to um, work with you and not against you. When children don't feel in control of their lives, obviously, and if somebody else is calling the shots for them all day long, there's bound to be resistance, right? But with homeschooling, you can work alongside your child. You can meet them where they are at. You can meet them wherever they are at, developmentally, emotionally, intellectually, wherever they are. So if they are far ahead of their peers, you can go far ahead. If they need some more time with a certain subject, you can pull back and give them more time on that subject. If they are really good with something, you can let them do it independently. The beauty of this is that you can customize their education exactly as per their personality and wherever they are with their growth. So there's no wastage of time. Your child is not fighting you. They're not resisting. In fact, it preserves their love of learning. It preserves that self-direction, that self-motivation, that intrinsic motivation that we all have, but we lose it when somebody else is telling us what to do. As adults, we know that we do best when we get up and do something for ourselves, right? And children are just little people. They have those tendencies too. They don't like to be told constantly what to do. Yes, you can, it's like a partnership, right? You get to work like a partner in your home setting. And of course, you can make the same mistakes and bring the same problems that are there in a school setting, just because of the nature of the setting. And that's what happens. That's what many parents misunderstand, and they try to create a school at home, and they run into these problems because they are trying to again do the same thing. But you don't have to. You can completely work respecting your parent-child relationship, completely in tuned with your family values, and keeping in mind that this is their home, and this is the place where they need to be comfortable, and they like, it doesn't have to be like a school. It doesn't have to be regimented. It doesn't have to be on a timetable. It can be completely different. You have the choice and the freedom to completely rethink this entire idea of education and make it your own, right? So that's another thing. So there is no wastage of time. There's no wastage of effort because it's all custom. Another thing is, one-on-one instruction is very, very efficient. If you don't know what I'm saying, just go back and recall, your own school days, or, even with your child, what do you do when they're struggling with a subject? You get a tutor. Or if you ever had a chance to work with a tutor, you know that you can really catch up things at your pace, and you can do things much more quickly. So one-on-one instruction is without the busy work, without all the fluff. So then it happens much more quickly. So let's say your 1 hour of one-on-one work is kind of like equivalent to 4 hours of school setting. So you can get done with your lessons very quickly. My kids right now, they are just doing some hands-on stuff right now because they're done with their school. We are done with our school in just a handful of hours. It doesn't take much time, and you can completely schedule it for whatever time in the day it works for you, right? So you have complete freedom, complete autonomy, and complete control over how you want your homeschool to look like, depending on what your lifestyle is like, right? So some people are, they work part-time, or their spouse is there on the weekends and they want their spouse to do, let's say, math or some other subject. So you can structure it in a way that it works for your family. And there is no right or wrong way, as long as you are intentional, and fully present with your child, making sure they are intellectually stimulated, they are getting what they need, you're providing for them, you are by their side. It should all be good. And also, another thing to keep in mind is with homeschooling, you're the boss, right? Since you're the boss, you can distribute, you can divide and conquer, you can be creative, you can combine subjects. Like I combine a couple of subjects, so it's much easier. It's so much easier. Like today, I read, I use this book. It's called Paddle to the Sea. It's like a story, but then it's actually geography. And then there is also a lot of because like today we were reading about uh, this place in Michigan where that boat is kind of moving and going to go. It's going through the lakes, the 5 Great Lakes of North America. And then we got into a discussion about Ford, the Ford company. And then we got into a discussion about what is that, lake fritters, how they work and what is. So what I'm trying to say is that the possibilities are endless. You can take any kind of tangent, you can combine different subjects, you can make the most out of whatever material is in front of you. You're not restricted in any way. It's not like a bell going off that now the geography period is over and now you're going to switch to science, and then after half hour it's going to be a hard stop, and then you're going to switch to math. It can flow in such a human, natural, organic way that learning becomes meaningful. It becomes something, like you get to experience it as a human being. It's such a natural part of our nature to want to know more, to discuss, to argue, to debate, and all the things that we all do. Like right now we are learning, right? We are going through an interaction where we are learning. So it's such a human, it's a part of the human experience, right? So we get to keep it real with homeschooling. Now the other thing is that when they are having struggles, you get to address it quickly without wasting a lot of time. So you get to nip the problems in the bud, like. So that's another thing, another huge advantage. So and you can make time for what they are keen on learning right now. So whether it's sports that they are interested in, whether it's tinkering that they are interested in, whether it's creative stuff that they're inclined towards, whatever it is, you get to make time for these other things which are interest led, which will make them excited about learning, which will preserve their natural passion, their natural inclinations. And it will be again, going back to how little time it takes to get through the main lessons for the day, and so much time and energy is saved. So it's very easy to pursue these other interests, to pursue your own problems and your own learning and your self-directed sort of part of education, which is amazing. Now a lot of people feel concerned that okay, so you're saying that homeschooling is not difficult because of all these advantages. It's possible to do homeschooling in fewer hours. It's just a commitment to a different lifestyle. Okay, I get this. But then I'm not an expert. I'm not a teacher. So what about that? I would say that, and I've read enough books. There's one particular book which really inspired me to uh, understand and critically see that even from teachers, educators point out that sometimes being an expert, too much of an expert, is a hindrance, because you connect less with your student. So that knowledge gap, when it's too wide, that can sometimes be a problem, because you can get impatient with your student. You may know all this stuff, but then everybody has to go through that process, right, of learning. And that process is slow. It's more of it requires the teacher to be very patient, to be very um, very cognizant of the learning process, right? And it doesn't always happen. Not all teachers are nice. We've all had some teachers who can really shame you for asking questions, who can really um, not really be with us and empathize with us as we are learning, as we are asking questions, as we are going through that process. So there's two specific books that I've read from different educators who have, and they both talked about this, and it was enlightening to see, and it was really refreshing to see that, sometimes it may be better that you meet your child as a companion and you learn along with them. That may sometimes be much better and far more create for a far more enriching educational experience for your child than you coming as an authority and saying this is what you learn and XYZ. Just think about it, like when you are also equally excited like your child to learn something new, you would feed off on each other's energy, right? You would both work and find out the answers. If you already knew everything, then probably it won't be as much fun. So I challenge you to step away from this thought process that you have to be an expert. Yeah, it would be nice if you're a step ahead in some ways, but your curiosity and your enthusiasm for learning can quickly make up for this. So even if you're at your child's level, it's fine. It's really fine. Just make sure you bring a lot of curiosity, bring a lot of enthusiasm, bring a lot of positive energy with you, and you should be fine. Okay, so now that we've discussed all of this, it's evident that you don't really need to be a super mom. You don't have to have any special skills. You just have to, I guess, enjoy your children's company. And I would highly encourage you to think about homeschooling as not this time that you're always with the children all day long. No, that's not required. You can have time away from the children for yourself, and they can go and read books on their own, they can play on their own, they can do some extra classes here and there, you can outsource some things here and there. All of that is possible within homeschooling. It's really possible, and I can get into that discussion some other time. But a lot of homeschooling moms will tell you that they have a certain schedule to their day, a flow to their day, where the children learn. They have time that they overlap, but they also have time that they are they get a break from the children, where they go and probably read some books and play. You can let them play in the house, and you can have all those ground rules to make sure you're buying some time for yourself, for your self-care, for your own learning, for your own teaching, whatever you do on the side. And for the upcoming conference, we have a lot of moms who have something on the side, so you will see how they are managing that. Personally, for my own self, I do run businesses, so I have time that I dedicate to my work, and then I have time with the kids. Of course, when they were younger, it was a lot more difficult, but that phase is temporary. It's not going to last forever. And it's not like the people who have young kids, they are sending their kids to daycare all day. They have the kids alongside them. That phase is just a little difficult, but then that doesn't last for long. And I specifically train moms how to make that phase easier for you and do intentional work, which will make your life easier in the long run. But that's I'll share some things later on regarding that matter. So there are no super moms. That's the conclusion, right? We don't really have super moms. They don't exist. What we have is moms. We are all moms, and we are all trying. It's just a different lifestyle with homeschooling. All you need to do is just commit to a lifestyle of learning and growing alongside your child. That's all you need for homeschooling. So in summary, all you need for homeschooling is a commitment to learning and growing alongside your children. That's it. If you have that, you're okay. you don't need to be a super mom. So that was all that I have to share from my end. Now I want to know from you, what do you think? What do you think a super mom is, and do you really think you need to be a super mom to homeschool? Have I convinced you, or should I go on? Frijwani is saying, I think that it's something traditional schoolers have realized in the past few months. While their kids were doing school online, actual school doesn't take that many hours. Oh, that's interesting. Actually, the recent circumstances, that's not what homeschooling really looks like. This is hard for everybody. And if in that time also you're sold on benefits of homeschooling, then you would do absolutely fine. Because normal homeschooling is not this restricted. It's actually this is very difficult actually. So Nudra Khan is saying, Assalamu alaikum, sister. Jazakallah khair for your guidance. Do we have to do state testing for our kids? Now, it depends on where you live, what the rules and regulations are. There are places, there are states. I mean, if you're within the United States, then you have certain rules and regulations depending on which state you live in. And even in the world, I think there are, depending on where you are, there would be different rules. And if you mean testing just for your own satisfaction, then it's easy to order tests and do a test, I guess. Salam alaikum. Please, do we know their personality, and how do I get them to have the interest to learn? Now that's a big question, Rabi. Walaikum assalam. That's the thing with homeschooling. You really spend time with your child, so you really know them. So you're not asking this question to an expert. You're not asking this question to someone else. You know what their personality is like, right? And of course, you can have a journal where you can note down, whatever you observe, you can note down, and hopefully that will also help you kind of understand their personality more and getting them interested to learn. I personally think schools are doing a very bad job at preserving a love of learning, and that's just because of the way it's structured. It's not malice, or it's not like intentional harm, but just the nature of that setting makes it hard for children to preserve that love of learning, because they're not in control of their lives. They have too much of too many hours. They're being told what to do. And as a homeschooling mom, if you do the same thing at home, you will have the same result. So when your children are being homeschooled, you have to be mindful and aware of this danger. I do not know other mom, but I know you're a super mom. No, I'm not a super mom. You have to come and see my house right now. It's a mess. So I actually discussed with my boys that after this life thing is over, we're gonna go clean up the closets and some other stuff that is pending. So yes, something or the other will get compromised. It's okay. You just have to learn to manage it, and you get to work together as a group, as a family. You're like a team, and you have to figure out things like that. So Tasneem is saying, I think something has to be said about the challenges of being consistently present. Any advice on this? You mean present with your kids, consistently present? I mean mentally and emotionally. Okay. So yes, you cannot, it's just not possible for you to physically and mentally be present all the time, right? But you can be, you do need time, downtime. You do need time to step away and just relax. But what I do have, and this is something I've observed in my own self. Okay, if I keep wasting my energy, right? If I'm not mindful about how I'm preserving this mental and emotional energy, and then I'm I guess blaming that it's because of the children that I am drained emotionally, mentally, and physically, then it's a misjudgment on my part. And I'll give you an example. There are days, if I'm too busy on the phone, I get exhausted. I get like mentally drained. And it's not the children's fault. It's just my mind switching in and out of different realities that has got me tired, right? So I guess, we have to have good life skills. in terms of how we manage our time, have healthy habits, healthy eating habits, sleeping habits, invest time in your self-care. And self-care, just go out for walks, just give yourself that downtime. Let the kids go out and play on their own. You don't have to micromanage everything that they do. You don't have to constantly be like hurting them, and be responsible. You can be smart about how you use your energy, how you use your day, and how you homeschool. And that's something that I work on myself, and I teach it to others too. So I know what you're saying, but I don't think it's the children that are the problem. It's us, and not being smart about the way we use our time and energy, which is the real problem here. You're saying, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm not a native speaker, but I speak English to a good extent. Do you think I can homeschool? And I'm a good learner. Yes, absolutely. Don't let that stop you. You will learn. You'll get another education along with your children. It's fun. It's exciting work. Homeschooling is fun. Just be a good student, and be engaged, and dedicate a few hours in a day to really be present with your kids, and learn to see it as a lifestyle change. So work with your family to, like, for example, like, I run a program for moms. So there we talk about how do you teach children to do chores, how do you understand child development, so that you are not fighting their natural nature, but you are using it to your advantage. And you are naturally leading them to become more independent and be more, you are preserving that love of learning. So you see, everything starts to work for you then. You don't have to micromanage everything. You have to be smart about things. That's the thing. Miss Safu is saying, during study, how do you manage the kids in terms of the number of questions they ask? We do at the end need to cover some part of the subject for the day. I guess I don't understand your question, sister. Do you mean, I don't restrict questions, by the way. If that's your question, like, I don't worry about one subject taking over long time. And if it means that they are fully engaged asking me questions, then that's far more valuable than finishing the subject on time, if that's what your question meant. But I don't think I fully understood your question. Nudra Khan is saying, any resources on homeschooling children with special needs? Okay, so this is not my area of expertise, so I don't quite know about this. But inshallah, if I do, I'll share it on my website or anywhere else. But I am pretty sure that there are plenty of resources on this, because homeschooling movement has been growing. There's been a lot of resources. I do know that there are curriculums specifically designed for children with, let's say, dyslexia, or children with learning disorders, and disabilities and things like that. I don't quite know if I know about resources specifically for special needs. You'll have to do some research. Just do a little bit of research online. Do a quick Google search should give you something in that direction. Ivokulu is saying, I'm not a native speaker too. We done 1 year of school, and believe me, you will learn a lot while reading for them. Absolutely. That's the way to go, mashallah. And isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to learn along with them? And it's just amazing. Mathasori is saying, my biggest concern has been the lack of community where I live. Co-ops are scarce. Forgot about finding other Muslim homeschoolers. Sister, I spoke about socialization 2 days ago. And if you can, go back and hear that video. This whole idea that you need a lot of people with the same values, same ideas around you all the time. This is again us placing undue and disproportionate amount of emphasis on peer interactions. That is what the problem is. I have a co-op. In fact, I started one with my friends over here. And sometimes I feel there's too much co-op happening. We have co-op twice a week. And I keep saying that, can we have it once a week, or can we have longer breaks? Because I really don't understand this obsession with very young children socializing with other children. The more I read about child development, the more I understand that It's really misplaced. The priorities are misplaced. And of course, when they grow older, they will want peers and they will want friends. And that is something that you will have to facilitate one way or another. But don't be too selective. Don't think that they have to be, spending X number of hours with a friend to, have everything they need socially. They as long as you're stepping outside your home, you're going out, you're interacting with people, that social connection is generally enough. And one good friend is far more valuable than having a bunch of friends, and you're just ganging up together and just it just, I mean, you have to, I don't know how to say it, but just go and read some books on how uh, excessive peer orientation and peer attachment is harmful for the children, and you'll know what I'm saying. So you don't need a co-op, sister. I didn't have a co-op where I started homeschooling, and I know in the beginning I placed so much emphasis on socializing. I was just going crazy. I would drive to another city. I would just keep convincing people to homeschool, and just thinking that, oh, my child is going to be lonely and my child is not going to have any friends. It doesn't work like that. They will be okay. It's us that is a problem, and our peer dependency that we are carrying from years of schooling, that is a problem. They don't really need that the way we imagine them to. um, and about co-ops, again, the co-ops are a help, but it's not a necessity. Just remember that it's not a necessity. You can, if you can use your local museum classes, if you can step out, even if you have one or two friends that you can do play dates with, just go to the park, let your child socialize with neighbors, go out. That's all good, useful social interaction. Taste of Serendip is saying, Jazakallah khairan, you're amazing. Thanks for answering. Wayakum, and I'm not amazing. Allah knows my reality, but thank you. If you see any good, make dua for me. What is this? Taste. We need someone to answer our questions. May this be a sadaqah jariyah for you. I mean, I am doing some series, and I will be doing more in the future. So just keep coming to this page, and you will know. I have another program which is coming up, and I have a conference which is coming up, homeschool conference, where there are even more amazing moms and who are going to be speaking. So you can join us on that. It's on my feed, the flyer and everything. I mean, Muslim Pixels is saying, since lockdown, I've been really thinking about homeschooling. My son is 5 years old and he misses his friends at school very much. Yes, that's because he's attached to the friends, right? He was in that setting. He was interacting with them. So now he has an attachment towards them. We get attached to people we spend time with. What do people say when couples become distant? The relationship is not doing well. What do they say? Spend time. If you want to nurture a relationship, you have to spend time. Time is the factor there. So if you as a parent are not getting enough time because your child is in peer settings all the time, then obviously they are going to be more attached to them, right? So you be the one who's there for the kids, right? And not just be like a parent, telling them what to do all day long, but just be there with them, connecting with them, bonding with them, talking to them, going for walks with them, reading to them, playing board games with them. They will be connected to you. And in fact, they get a lot more from a connection with the parent than they would ever from a child, because we take guidance from the one we are attached to. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about us? We are on the deen of a friend. Why is that? Because when we spend time with somebody, we become attached to them and we take guidance from them. So you think your child, your 5-year-old, gets better guidance from another 5-year-old, or they will get better guidance from you, or other members in your family, or there's so much research out there that children spending disproportionate amounts of time with other children of the same age, they don't grow as well. It doesn't, they just butt heads. It's just a very competitive environment, which doesn't, which is just a very specific kind of a setting. It doesn't do well for their development. Even play, when children play with mixed ages, it brings out a more collaborative kind of play instead of a very competitive kind of a play. right? So they learn a lot more in your natural organic home setting, your neighborhood setting, park. These settings are far more real settings, so to speak, than a school, which is a very artificially created setting for very efficient um, instruction that happens over there, right? And we have, and schools have their place, not to say that they don't, but over the years we have made it like younger and younger children are being sent to school, preschool, toddler school. Now we will have baby school after some time, and we will start assuming that, unless a baby goes to a school, they will not learn to stand up, walk, hold toys in their hand and walk and babble, you know I mean, the way we are going. So it's they grow. Children naturally grow. So, and they develop. They will be amazing, inshallah. Teaching with tawakkul, which is my friend Alina, is saying excellent point, mashallah. Sometimes we forget to enjoy them, and when they're older and we haven't invested in them, we wonder why they want nothing to do with us. Exactly. So this is the time to bond with them, inshallah. Weaving loving memories is saying, is it necessary to follow a certain timetable and hours of study in homeschool every day? Same like a normal school day? Absolutely not. And that's the beauty. And if you go back and listen to this entire session again, I have talked about this, how homeschooling is far more efficient. You can get done in fewer hours in a more efficient way, honoring your child's unique person, their unique interests, and wherever they are developmentally and intellectually, and even like interest wise, wherever they are, you can meet them right there, because you are in charge. If something is not working, you can put it aside, you can get something else. It's so much freedom. And you as a parent, you got their best interest in front of you, right? Who is going to want that more badly than you? you know there are amazing teachers out there, but yeah, they are limited by whatever their setting can allow, right? There are some amazing teachers, and yes, go out and use them. Use resources outside of your home, but don't say that you're incapable of doing this. Don't say that you are somehow deficient and that's why you have to completely rely on something else. What you do at home is always going to remain the most important thing, whether or not your child is going outside your home for school or whatever, right? Even the children who go to school, they say that the children who are read to at home, they end up becoming more, good learners for life. The children who are spoken to, who are respected at home, who are disciplined in a gentle way or in a loving manner, the children who come from homes which are more secure, which are more nurturing, from parents who are more kind, they will do well in life. The children who ask more questions, and who are more who are honored for whatever curiosity they have, they will do well. Who can provide all of this? You can do that. It's all in your hand. You can do it. So don't let this idea that you have to be a certain type of mom stop you from ever looking into this wonderful opportunity called homeschooling. It is possible. It is amazing, and you will learn a lot along with them, and you'll do well. And I think I should breathe a little. Thank you so much for all the advices. Do homeschool moms have to be organized? It would help to be organized, and it would help to be, it always helps to have skills, right? Whatever skills you have, but you can develop those skills. You don't have to have those skills to begin. You can grow that skill along with the kids. Did we stop ourselves from becoming mothers because we thought we are not having a certain set of skills? No. And like I said in the beginning, it's the parenting which is hard. So when we don't ask that question before we become a parent, there is no need to ask that question before we start homeschooling. Just look at a few things. Can you invest some time of your day? Are you in good health? Are you able to learn alongside your child? Are you able to do you love learning, or are you like completely dreading it, like the sight of books kind of makes you cringe? Then obviously don't homeschool. But if that's not the case, you'll be doing fine, inshallah. Ivakulu is saying that's true, I can be better. Yeah. Weavin Lovin Memories is saying thank you. Looking forward to the conference. Signed up for it. Great, inshallah. I'll see you there. So Jazakallah khair to everybody who joined. This was nice and interactive. I will be back here next Tuesday. I may not be able to do it on all 3 days, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I may do it only on Tuesday and then Thursday. Let me make an announcement on the page, and I will touch base with you. I'm really busy with the conference this weekend, and next week possibly will be very busy as well. So this series, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to make it work within my schedule. So another important thing is happening, which is I will be opening up this entire course on homeschooling, which is absolutely for free. What I did last time was did it in the form of a webinar, and it was a 5 hours worth of training. So I'm planning to do that, make that available as a course, and it's going to be free. You can listen to it, and you will have a video that will be sent to you, and then there'll be an interactive session, and it will go on for a few days, and maybe a month-long engagement with you. And inshallah, at the end of it, you will have clarity. That's what is my big focus whenever I work with somebody, because I craved that for the longest time, and I know how amazing it is when you can see things clearly. Like, what is it that I need to do? How do I need to do? What is the possible blind spot? What is it that I need to watch out for? What is it that I need to prioritize for my own self as I grow into a good home educator? All of those things will be in that program. And I did this right before I opened up enrollment for my course, which is a comprehensive homeschooling program. And what that did is it filtered the people, and for me, and even for the people who were attending that webinar, to see if I can if I can be a good mentor for them, and if they align with the way I intend to teach, right? And it was a good way of also giving back to the community, because it was a lot of free content, a lot of free material, which a lot of people said it's like worth its weight in gold, in their own words, that it was very helpful to them, and they were able to take that and apply it. And you don't have to sign up for my program for that. So this free program, inshallah, will give you enough material to work with, but this is going to happen later. And this is very different from our conference. This conference, if you are sitting and debating whether homeschooling is for you, come and engage with these amazing women. These women are, we have like women from all walks of life in the program. And some of them are students, some of them have businesses that they run on the side, some of them have, have a background in early childhood, speech and language therapy. Some of them are writers. We have all kinds of women in the conference that you will get to talk to and learn from. So it will really open up your mind to all the possible ideas and solutions, and all the different ways in which you can approach homeschooling. So inshallah, it will be very helpful. And if you haven't signed up for the conference, do that. I think it's going to be so worth it. And it's I don't want to add a plug here, but it's really going to be good. If I was on your end, I would go ahead and sign up for it, because I don't know how much I have craved for Muslim homeschoolers talking to us and telling us how to homeschool. I went to a lot of Christian conferences, and every time I went there, I felt like, oh, this is useful, but I don't connect with this, or I don't connect with that, or I wish I had this. And that desire has led to me organizing this in the first place, because I wanted this. I wanted it so badly that I'm creating one with my friends. So inshallah, I hope you're going to join us, and I hope this was helpful. Take care. I will see you guys